Steve Cloobeck, a candidate for governor who some of you may remember I interviewed a few months back. He is now the first guy up with TV ads in California now that Kamala Harris has decided not to run. I think, frankly, I think she made the wise decision. I think maybe she can win this race, but it would have been a rough go, and she'd have been relitigating a lot of the Biden stuff in ways that I don't know if she was prepared to do. And I go back to, I think that, there's a lesson to be learned from Richard Nixon's decision to try to seek the governorship after losing the presidential, literally 2 years after losing the presidential. California voters rejected him. And I think part of the rejection simply was, don't treat us like a consolation prize. And so I think that she made the wise move politically, and she's preserved the possibility that she could run in 28. Although I will be surprised if she runs. I think she only runs if she thinks she can basically walk in as the front runner, and she can't walk in as the front runner if the donor community isn't ready to support her as the front runner. So my guess is she will make the rounds with donors over the next 18 months and assess that situation. And I'd be surprised if she finds that she has the financial support network to walk into this race as the front runner. And so my gut is she does not run in 28, and I wouldn't if I were her. I'd wait. She's young enough to run for governor in 2030 or president in 2032. And she'll still be younger than Biden and Trump in doing that. So, but Cloobeck, now that Kamala's out, is out. What's interesting is his first ad is all about Trump and Epstein. That's the decision he made. He bought it in every media market, in cable media market in California, plus New York City, Washington, D.C., and West Palm Beach, meaning he was trying to get Donald Trump's attention with this. But it's all about Trump's ties to Epstein, and it goes through the various things.
Can you tell us about their friendship?
It's laughable that it wasn't a good friendship, if not his best friend.
It's been reported that Trump invited Epstein to his wedding.
Weddings are super close friends and family. It's hard to believe, but it's true. Even the conservative media is shocked.
We also found this photo of Donald Trump with two of his children talking to Jeffrey Epstein.
Were some of the workers that were taken from you young women?
The answer is yes.
Trump is for they, them. Stephen Cloobeck is for you.
Then he just announces, I'm Steve Cloobeck and I'm running for governor. So it appears to be a way to boost his own name ID and to put himself on the side of being anti-Trump. It's an interesting gambit. I kind of think it's a tough bank shot to make there. If you're using that to be sort of your this is your introductory ad. Now, if you remember the interview I had with Cloobeck, he wants to be unconventional. He sort of thinks that there are tactics of Trump worth adopting, and that sometimes you just, that this may be how he views the Epstein situation. I'm a skeptic, but I'll tell you this. Cloobeck is an unconventional Democrat in this primary. And I don't think conventional is the way to go in the Democratic Party in 2026 or 2028. So I'm not going to sit here and say this is a bad call by him. I'm a little skeptical, but follow the unconventional this year and this next year, because it may get you. Senate Democrats, they should feel good about. Looks like they're going to convince Sherrod Brown to seek another chance at getting back to the U.S. Senate. He lost his Senate seat in 24 in a presidential year. He had held it in a midterm year in 18, withstood a Trump challenge. Could not withstand the Trump vote in 24. So this is now, I'm mildly surprised Sherrod Brown chose to run for Senate. Appears that he's going to run, and this is a big coup look, Chuck Schumer needs to put more states in play if he's going to get the Senate, if he wants to find a path to 4 seats in order to win the Senate. Ohio has to be one of them. There was some talk that Sherrod Brown was thinking about running for governor. I think politically, and here's why I'm a little skeptical of Brown's chances. It's hard for him to look like a challenger, right? He's served in the Senate longer than the incumbent senator he's going to be challenging in John Husted, right? Husted is the appointed senator to replace J.D. Vance. By the way, if Sherrod Brown wins, his reward is to have to run 2 years later. And he's not young. Okay. So Like I said, I am surprised he's choosing to do this, because winning means he's got to literally be like a house guy, turn around and run for reelection 2 years later, because this is to fill the remainder of the J.D. Vance term. J.D. Vance was elected in 22, so the remainder goes to 28. So this is a special in 26 and then right back on the ballot in 28. So that's why I didn't think he was going to do it, because agreeing to run really was signing up for potentially 2 back-to-back $100 million campaigns. Because trust me, if Sherrod Brown wins, he's going to be the number one target for Republicans in 2028. So I'm surprised. I think it's an uphill battle. I know Sherrod Brown's won plenty of elections. He will benefit with Trump not being on the ballot. That should lower the number. The history of appointed senators is not great. So the best time to defeat an incumbent senator who's never been elected statewide by the people, although Husted has been elected statewide in down ballot races, just not as a U.S. senator, is in that first attempt. And I also wonder how much of the tariff argument Sherrod Brown can make, right? He's not somebody who just hates tariffs across the board. And he's, one of the things that has made him unique is he's kind of, shared the outrage of outsourcing and of what's happened to the manufacturing. And that's sort of why he survived longer than most Democrats did in the industrial Midwest. So can he take advantage of what might be the best issue to hit Trump on, which is this tariff regime? So it's that said, this is still the strongest candidates Democrats could find, right? So I gave you all the sort of reasons why this is tough for him. At the same time, he's also the best possible candidate they could have found in this seat. So it is a big coup for Schumer to get this, but I think it's never has 47% been so easy to achieve for somebody, and I think 47% will be easy for Sherrod Brown to achieve. That last 3 points is going to cost $200 million, and it still may be an impossible 3 points to get. Speaking of trying to put Democrats trying to put more Senate seats in play, they got another candidate in Iowa Senate. We now have 4 announced candidates essentially in Iowa Senate. Jackie Norris, who was one time the chief of staff to Michelle Obama. Her husband ran for office previously. She's been a long time Democratic operative. Trust me, any political reporter that's been reporting for more than 10 years nationally has Jackie Norris in their contacts because she's been a player in Iowa politics for that long. She's jumped in the race on this. There's already State Senator Zach Walz. There's the former Knoxville Chamber of Commerce Executive Director Nathan Sage. You've got the guy who ran against Steve King and came close defeating him in that conservative 4th district there, J.D. Scholten. He's also the minor league baseball player. And there's another candidate that national Democrats have been trying to get into this race, Josh Turek. He's a state representative from Council Bluffs. So it is amazing that Iowa went from a place that it looked like Democrats were abandoning, and they have a major candidate for governor, and they got 5 on paper good candidates wanting to run for Senate. Now, keep this in mind if this field stays this crowded. Iowa has this weird quirk in its primary rules. If no candidate breaks 35% in the primary, then it goes to a convention to decide who the nominee is. So it's not a runoff, but then it becomes essentially an inside game, right? Who knows how to do that? And I will tell you this, both Jackie Norris and J.D. Scholten are probably both better equipped to win that kind of knife fight behind the scenes if nobody ends up with more than 35% of the primary vote. But yeah, it's a weird quirk that Iowa has, but if no primary candidate gets 35%, in this case, it would be a state convention. Basically about a month or so later, will decide who the nominee is.